whether it's Tobey Maguire's Wolverine.
It's just how I logic my way into him being in the universe.
Potentially. I don't hate that idea. I do then think, I love the fucking opening joke. This last episode's going to be, the facility's going to get destroyed. I think Omega dies, it's who dies with her.
And that's why he's such a good villain. Because when you see what he's been through, you do just kind of go, I don't necessarily agree with what you want to do, but I absolutely understand why you want to do it. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what this double bill looks like. And obviously where that leaves us going into season 2, which has already been written and is definitely happening.
Yeah, I think...
I'd be amazed if we don't get more than 2 seasons with how phenomenally well this season's gone down. But we know season 2 has already been written.
Why do I feel like this season, with how the tone and some of these episodes have been, I don't know if we get a happy ending to the season.
Hello, and welcome to episode 112 of Cutscene Convos. And the last episode of Cutscene Convos that I'm ever going to film in here. Because tomorrow we begin the process of moving. So this is the last time you're ever going to see this background, ladies and gentlemen. The bookcase of all the unread comics is gone. No, sorry, not unread comics. I finally caught up and read all of them, so I just moved them further away because I didn't need them so close. But yeah, we have got an absolutely jam-packed episode. We've got character profile on the one and only Magneto. We've got episode 7 of X-Men 97. We've got episode 14 of The Bad Batch. We've got a Deadpool and Wolverine trailer to talk through.
Very exciting.
We've got an absolutely rammed Nerd News Network. But before that good stuff, Horizontal, how's your week been?
My week has been good. I'm trying to think what the hell's happened this week. I feel like I say this every week. I genuinely have no concept of time anymore.
This week's been a really weird week. It got to Tuesday and I was like, have I spoken to Hori? Did me and Hori forget to record an episode?
It's like, yeah. It was like a weird shit. Like, I went to my girlfriend's a weekend, but we really didn't do much other than like watch stuff on TV. Yeah, I haven't really done much. I've been figuring out like creative stuff. Decided I need to completely revamp my portfolio and stuff, which is every graphic designer is just like put off. It's one of those things where it's like, should do it more often and it would be an easier job if I kept it up to date more often. But then I'm just like, I'm finally deciding.
If a brand ever comes to us and asks for a portfolio to decide if they want to work with us, you're the one who knows how to put a portfolio together. So that'll be a you job.
I mean, I'll just link them the channel and it's like, hey, there you go.
Like, here it is. It's a video portfolio.
Yeah. This is all our content we made. But yeah, that's one thing I've realized I just need to update and in that process, probably going to do a bit of a brand refresh update, which I haven't done since like 2020. I've been using the same logo since then. So the logo and stuff. Things might get a bit of a freshen up and a tweak. So that's what I've been trying to figure out this week. And then just kind of chilling. Been playing racing ACC, a racing sim game. Still been playing that. Definitely getting to the point though where I want to buy a wheel. Which is dangerous.
I've reached a point of diminishing returns with the controller. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can race. I can do pretty good. Like, I can safely race for the most part on a controller, but it's like there's certain things on a controller with like sim racing games where obviously it's very twitchy because you don't have the smoothness of a wheel.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm doing fine, and then I absolutely just like spin out and crash because I let my thumb off the joystick, and then as I put it back on, it jolts it to the right, and I'm like, oh. So it's a lot of fun, but I'm definitely at that point where I might dive into getting a wheel.
Yeah.
How's your week, your moving week been going?
It's been chaos. So last weekend, the plan was clear out everything from the bedroom that wasn't essential for surviving this week.
So just the bed?
Yeah, basically all that we really left was the setup so that I could record. the TV so that we had something to watch, the bed, and a week's worth of clothes. All of the rest of our clothes got boxed up and taken around. And the plan was also to collect our new bed, which was at Jenna's mum's boxed up, put them in the back of my dad's car, and take them round. Problem was,
don't fit.
They didn't fit.
Uh-oh.
But do you know what the annoying thing is? My parents have like this new brand of like not quite an SUV, but basically an SUV.
Yeah.
They have that size car.
And it don't fit.
Exactly. And the reason why is Toyota, in trying to make the back of their car like sleek, they cinch it in right at the back. And that was the bit. It was only like 2 centimeters it wouldn't fit by.
That's rough.
But once it got past that little bit where it wouldn't fit, if we could have got it past, there's like another 8 centimeters of room.
That's rough. Just tie the boot shut.
Yeah, no, that's the problem because it's right at the entrance to the boot, so the whole thing would be hanging out the arse. So we've had to hire a van, which we're collecting tomorrow. Fun fact though, I always thought you had to be 25 to rent a car.
No.
That's not a legal thing, that's just common practice. There are some places that will rent you at 21.
Yeah, sometimes they might charge you more if you're not 25.
The common practice is still 25, but legally it's 21. Just like if you've had your license for 3 years, you can teach anyone to drive. Fun fact.
Yeah. I've had my license for a lot longer than
that. So then I just worked Monday through to Wednesday. Today's my first day off. I'm off for a week and a half. The plan was to clear out everything on my desk that I didn't need for tonight. Take that round and then just kind of have a bit of time to chill, make sure I'm up to date on all my editing and stuff before being out of action for like 5 days. And then I tripped and fell and landed on a plug. You know how...
so unfortunate.
Put it this way, I know for a fact before I've said, like, I hope you step on Lego, I hope you step on a plug. I stepped on Lego, so I always felt like I could say that. I will never ever again say to someone, I hope you step on a plug, because I almost passed out from the pain, unironically.
Yeah. I was telling you.
It was not good.
My sister's done it before, and it's one of those things where ever since she told me about it, I'm like, nope, I never want to experience that.
I was sat on the stairs that go up to my parents' room while my dad was like looking at it, making sure it wasn't like bad enough that we needed to go to get like medical attention. And he's cleaned it up. And as he's cleaning it up, I get really warm because I had a hoodie on. So I take that off, and then I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be sick or if I'm going to pass out, but we've got to do something here because it ain't right. I got up and I managed to like hobble to the bathroom because I was like, I'll be lower to the ground, then if I pass out, I'll be fine. And if I'm sick, I'm already here, sorted. But like, I'm actually like, my threshold of pain is really good normally. I've had broken fingers, dislocated fingers. I've got through it all okay. This is one of the most annoying constant pains ever, because it's the sole of your foot as well. No matter what you're doing, it's always like twitching and moving, and not ideal at all.
So we've discovered your kryptonite is plugs.
Yeah. I've never been so annoyed.
If you ever want to trap Connor in a room, just surround it with turned up plugs.
Do you know what the worst bit is as well? This could happen basically any time, and it wouldn't be that big of an issue. Of course it happens on the weekend when I'm going to be moving heavy boxes. I'm going to be walking backwards and forwards between rooms. It's just fucking typical.
You've got an excuse to just sit around and not do it.
The good news is I am off all of next week. So once I get my setup put together on like hopefully Monday, I will just be able to kick my feet up, throw some streams up, play some games. Gonna have some new lighting. We've got a new monitor. What else we got? We've got a new monitor mount, and a couple of extra new bits, which will be fun. It'll be interesting.
Exciting.
New background inbound. It probably won't be done for next week's episode. It'll probably still go through a few iterations of getting everything sorted, but it'll be a new background, which will be interesting.
This is where podcast's not expecting it, but actually this is all a ruse. Next week you're going to be live from Marvel Studios. That's the new background. Just Marvel offices.
The funniest thing would be if for the next episode I was in your room and you were in my room and we just don't acknowledge it.
Completely switched.
But yeah, so it's big. It's very exciting. I've lived here literally my entire life. I've never lived anywhere else. The longest I've gone without sleeping in this house is 6 weeks.
Damn.
So like, it's going to be a big adjustment for sure, but it is very, very exciting. Let's get into some stuffs.
Yes.
Character profile is Magneto, the one and only.
Surprised we haven't done him yet.
Yeah, I mean we've been hammering the X-Men recently because just it's here. Anyway, let's get into this. Max Eisenhart, also known as Eric Magnus Lenscher or Magneto, first appeared in X-Men #1, July 1963. Max was born in Nuremberg, Germany, to a modest middle-class Jewish family. He attended school in the local area, where he met and began to fall in love with a girl called Magda. However, this time in Germany, anti-Semitism was rising and Nazism was taking over, making Germany a very dangerous place for Max and his family. However, his father, Jakob, didn't believe it. Being a World War I veteran, he didn't believe his home country would turn its back on him. This was until he went to see an old colleague who'd become a major who he'd served with during the First World War. And upon arrival, he was beaten to within an inch of his life and told the only reason his life was spared was because of his friendship with the major. It was at this time Max and his family fled to Poland. Unfortunately, Germany took over Poland at the start of the World War, leaving Max's family in dire danger once again. This time they couldn't escape it. His family was executed and he was taken to Auschwitz. It was at Auschwitz he would observe Mr. Sinister using prisoners as test subjects for his sick experiments. Max managed to survive in Auschwitz and was even reunited with Magda, his childhood love. He found ways to get her extra rations and protect her from selection for the gas chambers. It was during this horrible, unthinkable time Max began to understand just how cruel people can be to those they view as different from themselves, an idea that would later go on to not only be reinforced, but would also shape his opinions on multiple problems. After a revolution allowed Max and Magda to escape, they became a family in a little village in the mountains with their newborn daughter Anya. Shortly after leaving this village, seeking a better life for himself and his family, Max moved them to a larger city in the USSR. However, it wouldn't be long before tragedy struck once again. When his new boss refused to pay him as a way to try and get free labour, this angered Max, and for the first time in his life, he was healthy enough and angry enough for his powers to finally manifest, causing him to throw a crowbar across the room with his mind at his boss. This would only get worse, as when he returned home, he saw his home was on fire and his daughter was trapped inside. However, the police wouldn't allow him to enter to save his daughter because they were on his boss's payroll. This caused his daughter to burn to death in front of him. This then sparked a fury inside him, which resulted in him using his powers to kill these KGB officers and also some innocent passers-by. Having seen this frightening display of power, his wife fled, never to be seen again. However, unknown to him at the time, she was pregnant with twins. Now, once again, alone and heartbroken, Max decided it was time for a new start and got a new identity as Eric Lenchner. His story was the same, but he'd separated the life and woes of Max away forever. Eric would go on to live in the Middle East, where he would operate as a volunteer helping Holocaust survivors in physical therapy and emotional therapy. It was at this time he met Charles Xavier. Eric and Charles would go on to become incredibly close friends and discuss multiple topics such as human and mutant relations. One night, after needing to save a friend from Hydra agents, they coincidentally revealed their powers to one another. However, after many more debates about humanity's ability to live harmoniously with mutants, Eric ran away from him and ran away as him and Charles were just too different. Eric would then go on to be a Nazi hunter for the CIA. However, after one mission, the CIA betrayed him and killed his girlfriend at the time as a way of keeping him in line. This was the final nail for Eric, and he killed his handler, donned the name Magneto, and became a mutant terrorist, hell bent on making Homo sapiens bow down to Homo superior. Magneto is such an interesting character because I don't think any person realistically survives what he survives and isn't the exact same.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to survive through like a Holocaust, but to then escape that and then go through something just as traumatic again.
Yeah, and again and again, every
Yeah.
time someone decided he was different in a way they didn't like, and he lost loved ones because of it.
Yep.
Like, and that's why he's such a good villain. Because when you see what he's been through, you do just kind of go, I don't necessarily agree with what you want to do, but I absolutely understand why you want to do it.
Yeah. It makes him a bit too real that everyone's like, oh shit, yeah, okay, I can
It's the same
understand.
reason in actuality that Killmonger in Black Panther
Mm.
was seen as such a good villain. Because people were like, is he right in what he's trying to do? No, probably not. Do we understand why he wants to do it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why Magneto is such a good villain. And yeah, it's just a heartbreaking story.
Mm.
The twins that I alluded to, do you know who they are?
Is that, are they mutant twins?
Oh,
I was gonna say the only like twins from Russia side that I can think of is like Wanda and Quicksilver.
yeah.
Oh, is it them?
Wanda and Pietro are in the comics Magneto children.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I don't think I think they've retconned that and re-retconned that a few times.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I do believe the current continuity is that he is their parents.
Yeah.
He's their parent, yeah. But they don't know for certain. It's just kind of a implied
Gotcha.
thing that maybe the characters don't know, but we all kind of know.
Right.
I believe, but don't quote me. Anyway, X-Men 97.
Yes.
It was heat. It was heat. I mean, the whole show's heat, top
Yeah,
to bottom, start
the
to finish
show's
every
been
week.
amazing.
Seeing Rogue on a rampage.
Yeah.
Little Thunderbolt Ross cameo.
Yeah. As soon as I saw the name tag of Ross, I was like, oh, Red Hulk.
Yeah, the way they use that as well is just him like, need I remind you, this facility was built to house the Hulk. I'm not worried about some sewer rat.
Dunk. Yeah, and you're like, it's built to keep the Hulk in, not necessarily to keep a Hulk out. But yeah, that rampage was sick, and the whole way of watching. Again, we've said it with like multiple times with how they've animated different mutants and how they've fought. I feel like we got to they just got to have fun with Rogue going like on rampage mode.
Absolutely.
But then for that to all like eventually, obviously skipping a bit ahead, but like we get all that, and then it gets to the point where like she suddenly is the team find her and she faces all that like grief, and it's just like heart-wrenching.
Yeah, absolutely heartbreaking. I also, going back to Remy's funeral,
Yeah.
I loved that Kurt did the service.
Yes.
I think that was a stroke of genius. It was actually a really beautiful service
Yeah,
as
it
well.
was so well written.
Yeah, really, really well put together. I hope we obviously Gambit doesn't stay dead in the comics, and this is all at least loosely adapted from the comics.
Yeah.
I wonder how long we have to wait before we get him back. Is it a next season type feat, or is it the culmination of this season?
So we've only got 3 episodes left, right? I think it's a 10-episode season.
Maybe there's only 9 episodes.
I think it's
Give me
3.
2 seconds. X-Men 97 episodes.
So I have a feeling like the last few are all like part 1, part 2.
No, there's 9 episodes.
Okay.
Next week and the week after are part 1 and part 2.
Gotcha. Knowing how we've kind of theorized that there's obviously going to be maybe a bit of a time loop thing, I don't think that is solved this season. Maybe right at the end, it kind of alludes to this idea of like, we can try again. And then season 2 unravels all that, and then maybe Gambit can come back in season 2. I don't think we get him back in this season.
Is it possible that, as we find out, Magneto isn't dead? Is it possible that Gambit's in the same situation, do you think?
I don't know. Just because it's like how we saw Gambit die, where we didn't see Magneto.
The cardinal rule of animation: if you don't see the body, they're not dead.
The fact that we watched Gambit die and then Rogue grieve his dead body, it's like, it's a bit harder to just be like, psych, he's not dead.
Yeah. No, fair.
But yeah, so maybe next season, maybe they do reset it somehow.
What did you think of the big reveal that Sinister isn't actually the big bad?
Yes, I have no idea who this other guy is. Also, the voice of this big bad.
Bastion, yeah.
Is that what he's called? Okay.
Yeah.
The voice of Bastion. I have not looked to confirm this, but like, I was like, why do I recognize this voice? And I haven't fully figured it out. It almost sounds like Hemlock from Bad Batch.
I don't think it is. Theo James is the voice of Bastion. Theo James is a very famous actor. Has he done anything else? No, I think this is like first proper voice actor.
He just, I guess, maybe just like has a similar.
It's Horry. You're falling victim to the American trap here of evil villain. Guy with British accent.
It probably is, but it was just like, I think because we're watching Bad Batch so much as well at the moment, it was just like, why does this voice sound so familiar? Okay, well, it wasn't him, but yeah, I had no idea who that is because I'm not that clued up on like X-Men villains.
Bastion isn't someone that I'm particularly familiar with either. I believe he's some kind of Sentinel something hybrid.
Okay,
that's like mega mutant racist.
Gotcha. That makes sense with the advanced Sentinels.
What I will say is, Bo DeMaio has said on Twitter that Bastion's been there all along, and if you go back and rewatch every episode other than episode 3, you can see him.
Oh shit!
So apparently he's been hidden in plain sight the entire time, which is fucking awesome.
Well, if he's, because I'm guessing OZT is all like government backed.
It's government backed or just like people with government training, government
resources
equipment who are anti-mutant. It's like
they've got a secret thing going on. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me.
Like the American police and the KKK.
I mean, fair comparison, but damn. Yeah, so okay, that makes sense why it could be like hidden in plain sight then, because if he's just like We're military people. We're not going to question it, are we?
Exactly. So that it's kind of cool that they thought enough to like sprinkle it in
Yeah.
and be like, yeah, he's in every episode other than episode 3. You'll be able to see him.
Okay.
So that's cool. I just love this show so much. I was right that we'd get Cable coming back in this episode.
Yes. This time to Cyclops, and then he realizes it's his son.
Yeah. It's. Do you know what I've realized this series has done so well, and like it makes complete sense. This isn't groundbreaking news to anyone who's watched it. A lot of X-Men stuff in our lifetime has been centered around Wolverine.
Yes.
This show refuses to let itself be centered around Wolverine. It's like, no, the X-Men are equals. It's not Wolverine and his friends, it's the X-Men.
Yeah, no, this show's been solely focused on mutants versus humans, which is actually what a lot of the X-Men always has been.
Everyone's got a bit of screen time. They're doing different stories. Everyone's getting their own bits. Phenomenal. Also, can we talk about just the perfect example of the X-Men being an allegory with Sunspot telling his mother he's a mutant?
Yes.
Is that entire conversation, could you not just change I'm a mutant to I'm gay, and that conversation be basically identical?
But, oh yeah, we knew.
We always knew. A mother knows, but we have to keep it very quiet because of company and your
certain members of the family wouldn't approve or something like that. Yeah.
And acquaintances will have to be a bit more discreet. It's like
it's always, I feel like with those sort of stories, both in real life and when they're done in media, it's always like either parents knew, everyone's happy that it's just out in the open, or like what we got in this is parents knew, but we still need to keep it hush hush. And then it's like the kid or whatever coming out, in this case, like him revealing he's a mutant, he's like, oh, you knew? Okay, this makes this so much better. And then the parent goes, but we still need to give this hush hush. It's like, oh, you're not as accepting of this as I thought.
You don't actually love me as much as I hoped you would. You don't love me enough to sacrifice some money for the company.
Yeah. I think maybe now he's done that. Maybe he leans more into we get to see his powers and he joins more of the X-Men because he realizes he can't actually be his true self at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we talk about America's ass himself?
Yeah. The Captain America cameo was dope.
It was so well done. It gave me big, you know, in the MCU films when they find the secret old bunker for
in Winter
Hydra
Soldier,
in Winter Soldier, yeah. It gave me those vibes of when he's like discovers that place.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting because I like to think that while Captain America is supposed to be like American through and through,
yeah,
I also don't like the idea of him feeling a need to like follow red tape. So I feel like him going, we've got to do this one by the book, right? Blah 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 blah. I don't know how faithful a characterization I feel like that is. I feel like if Captain America saw on the news a bunch of civilians just got obliterated, he wouldn't be going, no, we have to do this the right way. He'd be like, Rogue, let's just try not to kill people. But let's smash some skulls and get some answers.
I suppose it's a bit like, yes, he's not necessarily by the tape. I think it's more a case of he can't just go waltzing in. Like even Captain America, he has like a certain thing of like he can't just openly go waltzing into a country and start beating people up just to find someone. Like, yes, he won't necessarily stick to what the government wants, and he'll find his way of doing it. But he's also he makes sure not to. He understands his image, and he can't just be like in a street somewhere beating someone up.
Yeah, I get that to an extent.
I think
to an extent, I get that.
Oh, we don't know what the like stage of life this Captain America could be in this.
True.
This world.
He might not have had his kind of oh, the government really can't be trusted.
Yeah, maybe he
doing
still
it for
thinks
themselves.
they're doing the government's in the right.
Maybe.
Uh,
But it was very cool to see him nonetheless.
I love that Rogue was just like, "Oh, you're not going to help me? Screw you!" and just yeets the shield into the mountains.
Throwing the shield into the mountains is fucking hilarious, and that is why we love Rogue. I was surprised we didn't get a reappearance from Storm in this episode or Charles.
I think it wanted to focus. I'm not too surprised by that because I think it wanted to focus on Rogue obviously going through her grief, and then it needed to reveal who this actual big bad is, ready for this two-part finale. I think Charles coming back might be like at the end of this season, Charles and Magneto both reappear, and they're like, "Wait, what the fuck? You both are meant to be dead. You're here." And then there's and kind of and maybe Storm at the same time, and it's like the three old heads, OG, like are back to kind of reset things. I don't know.
The Bolivar Trask genuinely feeling guilty for what his machines did was an interesting one.
Yeah, not one you suddenly like, hang on, was he just puppeted and now do I feel bad for him?
Because it's a tricky one, because it's like, well, you did come up with the Sentinels and they were a danger to mutants.
Yeah.
I think it just kind of double downs on the idea that he doesn't view what he initially did as bad, because he viewed it as just protecting humanity.
Yeah,
and then his shield got turned into an assault rifle.
Yeah, it's that
Even
thing of like,
it was never really a shield.
This was my belief was I'm making this to protect humans from when mutants try to just go mental. And mutants could agree. In a perfect world, that's a fair thing to build. Even mutants would probably say it's actually quite a good thing to have. If one of us omega levels goes mental, we need some way of stopping them. But then it's like, it's government backed. The government takes everything and turns it into, how can we use this as a weapon?
And then you get these super masterminds in Mr. Sinister and that coming in and going,
Twist things.
what if we made it
It'd be like, no, your
Godzilla?
things. Well, it's like, oh, your idea is perfect. Yes, let's keep building this, and then they put their own thing into it that lets them just be like, oh, turn off all filtering.
Just go to the island full of mutants and kill them all. Like, seeing Beast get a little bit more, or sorry, a little less diplomatic, shall we say, was interesting as well with the news reporter.
Yeah, well, it was like we almost saw like this is Beast has a bit of an interest in this reporter. He's pleased to see her. And then suddenly he realizes everything's just politics to his people. And he's like, okay, I'm sick of your politics.
Fun fact, in recent years in the comics, Beast has been a bit of an evil bastard.
Oh.
I believe in recent years he's been like very radical and like doing horrific experiments and just being genuinely kind of evil. So that's why I've always preferred X-Men, not X-Men like the old animated and now 97, because it's Beast being what I think of as Beast as, yes, he's got all of the fucking brawn on planet Earth, but he'd still rather have a conversation and try and talk it out.
Yeah, I like kind of how they're almost portraying what scientists often are like, is they'll play a bit of politics, but they're always sick of politics. Because it's like, no, that science is science. Why are we bringing politics into this?
Yeah, he sat there mindset. And he's learnt from Charles for years, and he's like, no, we can do this. I believe in humans. Beast is, of the mutants, one of the most at danger because he's so obviously a mutant. It's not like Jean or Wolverine who can kind of walk around and get away with it.
Yeah.
But he's always tried to have conversations. The big arc from season 1 of X-Men, the original show, was he got arrested wrongfully. And at any point, he was strong enough to just break out of prison. But he waited in prison to win at trial to prove that he was innocent.
How he saw it the right way.
Yeah, exactly. So seeing him get to the point where he's almost like, why are we having to beg for your acceptance? It's kind of setting up, and I know I kind of said this a little earlier, like I don't know if they're trying to like find a little speed run route to the Krakoan age. It's almost like everyone's just got a little bit more radical because of what happened, and they're almost like, maybe Magneto wasn't like. I mean, Cyclops literally said that. He was like, Magneto warned us about this.
Yeah, and I mean, even the Cyclops bit when he's talking to the president, and he's like, "Well, I can't help you. Surely you'd rather I played politics so you got me in, rather than
Yeah.
someone who actually might be worse than me." And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a fair point, but at this moment in time, I
But
don't care about that.
you're not helping us right now. Yeah, it's crazy.
I
It's
think you could
absolutely
be
crazy.
right with the whole almost not quite speedrunning it, but definitely pushing them all in that direction of being
Yeah.
a bit more radicalized.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what this double bill looks like,
Mm,
and obviously where that leads us going into season 2, which has already been written and is definitely happening.
yeah, I think.
I'd be amazed if we don't get more than 2 seasons with how
Yeah.
phenomenally well this season's gone down. But we know season 2 has already been written.
Why do I feel like this season, with how the tone and some of these episodes have been, I don't know if we get a happy ending to the season.
I
I
don't think
think
we do.
I think we get X-Men find out about actual Big Bad. Big Bad does something else that absolutely screws them up. OG heads reappear from the dead,
Yeah.
like Charles and stuff. Cable ends with Cable being like, "Look, maybe there's a way we can redo this," or something. Or like explains like there's a chance to reset things, and it just ends there within like something's gone wrong, big chaos.
Do you want to know what my hot take is?
Go on.
So, also in the 90s, we had a Fantastic Four and a Spider Man cartoon.
You think they're gonna
And
show up?
and all of these shows did overlap. They were all seen as canon
Okay.
to the same universe.
Okay.
I've got a feeling that they want them to appear in the next season, and they sprinkled in Captain America because that's easy to not cause too many issues. Because Captain America, although he seems like it now, in the animated space is nowhere near as big an IP as the Fantastic Four and
Mm-hmm.
Spider Man. The series has done really well. They've done a cameo that works, and now in season 2, they're gonna be like, we would like to see Spider-Man interact with the X-Men because Spider-Man has a lot of interaction with the X-Men over the years, and we would like to see the Fantastic Four interact with the X-Men. I would not be
I
surprised at all if we get that.
I think maybe they would have Fantastic Four. I think they're more likely to do maybe Spider-Man in season 2 and maybe save a Fantastic Four cameo that leans times a bit closer to the film coming out.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me either. I think they've now seen the value in doing detached animated projects when you're getting ready to bring these characters into the main timeline. Because the people who just started watching this kind of media because of the MCU might have given this a chance and gone, "Oh, these guys are sick."
What if, with the
That's not the
excited
trend.
response of Captain America, and everyone was excited for his cameo, imagine we got like a spy Winter Soldier-esque style Captain America animated show.
Do you know what? I would be so up for a very slow release. Like we don't need loads, like maybe 2 a year animated universe
Yeah, build out
that
this.
has little crossovers, not a
Yeah.
lot of crossovers, but like what we're missing from the films right now is like these kind of day-to-day smaller stories. Have a little animated universe that tells them.
Yeah. It's easier
They
to
don't
do
need
as
to,
well. Because
yeah,
if
they don't need to be overly connected so that people can just watch characters they want to watch. And do you know what that also is as well? If you get people watching them, that is much closer to picking up a comic book than
well,
a
yeah, I was
Marvel
going to
film
say,
is.
considering how closely they're adapting the comics for this X-Men 97, they can do the same with other characters, and it helps, like you say, pull people into them want to read the comics.
A comic book adapts so beautifully into a 20-minute episode.
Well, yeah. It's just for animated in general, it just works so well.
And here's the thing, most comic runs that I've read, I've not read loads and loads of comics, each kind of story is 3 issues. if you were to do 12 episodes, you do 4 little arcs, and they move beautifully between them, and you just go on about your day, and it just goes together nicely. And like I said, you're setting people's brain up for how a comic book works. Then you're giving them more content to these characters they're interested in an art style closer to what they'll see in a comic book. I'm not saying it's going to make Marvel sell 100,000 times as many comics. It's definitely going to sell them more comics, though. Absolutely.
I think they'll probably find this out after X-Men 97's done with season 1. There'll be some stat of like, have comic sales gone up for X-Men comics?
Yeah,
and if
absolutely.
it's like a significant amount, I think they will then be like, we should do more animated shows.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good content, but it's also a brilliant way to get people to consume comic books.
Yeah.
Which, whether we like it or not, comic books is what created all this. We need to make sure that medium doesn't die. The Bad Batch.
The penultimate episode.
We're getting there.
One left.
It was an intense episode.
Yeah.
It was all very on edge. Like, shit, is this all about to go wrong? What's about to happen? It wasn't. Not a lot happened, but it got your heart rate up a little bit just because it was so
there was
on
tension.
edge.
Yeah,
because like you're aware that the characters are all in a very secure place they shouldn't be, and so you're just sat there like, this is going to go wrong, and I don't know how yet, and I don't know who's going to get hurt and what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's that, because we know they're trying to break out, and we know Omega is trying to figure out, and it's like, because of how obviously they're clever in the way that they do it, at no point do they show when she gets back.
Exactly.
And it's like, they just keep showing that she's not there, which obviously we know well enough with these things. That often means that's happening at the same time as the earlier stuff. It's just obviously and it's like that tension of they're trying to slow down this doctor, that it's not working. We think Omega's still up in the tunnels. Like this tension of, oh shit, they're going to get caught. This is all going to go wrong. Meanwhile, we know everything else that's happening on the outside. It's just like you say, this tension was building up, and it's like, oh, you're on the edge of, oh shit, it's going to go wrong. It's like I said, though, this episode is definitely multiple paths unknowingly all working and they're all going to kind of clash at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you had
Emery's definitely going to end up on our side.
100%.
Absolutely.
And the fact that I hadn't really considered how Echo wouldn't rejoin with the others. So the fact that you had the Bad Batch, like Hunter, Wrecker, Crosshair, and I mean Rampart, but like that group, then you had Echo having to deal with getting off the ship, putting on the armor, and then the fake droid hand, which I loved, bumping into Emery and those paths connecting. And then you've got Omega also trying to break out. There's 3 pathways now going on.
Well, the thing is, for this rescue to be successful, it has to be done quietly.
It's not.
Which means Omega has to get the kids out of the vault.
Yeah.
And then trust the Batch to get them from the edge of the vault back to a ship. Which means it is absolutely going to have to be, in this final episode, Emery and Echo trying to work out where they can meet, and Crosshair and that trying to get in safely, and then Omega trying to get herself and the kids out of the vault so that they can meet up with them and then go. Because Omega knows they're there, which is good. But
yeah,
they don't know that Omega knows they're there.
No. And also, Echo has bumped into Emery, so now he knows, okay, she's told him where Omega is, but then meanwhile you've got Wrecker, Hunter, and Crosshair have no fucking clue what's going on inside. They're having to deal with Rampart, who I think, now that fucking Rampart run off, like the classic
idiot
person in political power, has actually no backbone, runs off scared at the first sign of danger. gets himself caught, he's 100% going to sell them out.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. I said this
Yeah, you
last
did.
week. He is absolutely going to sell them out
He,
because and I mean we got a bit of foreshadowing when he said to Crosshair, "Me and you are the same. We only care about ourselves."
yeah,
He's been caught by the Empire.
he's going to think
He's just going to fold instantly.
He's going to think, oh, a way for me to maybe keep this and get back into this position of power I'm enjoying again is
But
I
just not go back to prison.
yeah, I just play their side and I
Yeah.
give them up. Which all it's going to do, I think what's going to end up happening is he's going to sell them out. So obviously they're going to be like the Bad Batch, they're going to radio it in. Hemlock's going to put the whole, like he's already putting the base on like lockdown, but he's going to like lock it down. To which I think that's where you're going to get this chaotic point of Echo and Emery trying to figure out shit. How do we get Omega out while there's a lockdown? And I think Wrecker and them having to try and break in. There's gonna be some weird chaos. Obviously, the finale is called Cavalry Has Arrived, which I think is going to be a play on the fact that they're here to get Omega out. I also think there's going to be Echo will have contacted Rex. I think when he was on the ship on the terminal just before he got off the ship, he was clearly trying to get like coordinates. I think he's gonna like somehow contact Rex, and that's gonna be the winning factor. Winning, we don't know what's gonna happen. The beast, the Zillow beast or whatever it was called, I forget.
Yeah.
I'd completely forgot that was there. I think that's going to play a part. Obviously, Echo thinks that's some way to get out.
Omega. Yeah, Omega's seen that and she has an idea.
Force.
Imagine.
I wouldn't. Well, here's the thing. If it's not her, she's in a room with 4 of her Force users.
You also know how Filoni feels about kids having Force connections with animals.
Yep.
Yeah, that's his thing. He loves it.
So
that's the way, to be fair.
It could be like a collective. The group of them managed to like Force connect together with this creature.
I have a hot take for you.
Okay.
Bad Batch is ending. We know this is the last season.
Yep.
There is definitely another animated show coming to replace it.
I
have one big reason as to why.
Okay.
In the early stages of this season, there was a lot of emphasis put on like these shadow troopers who were like clones who'd been turned and whatever. Nothing was ever really explained, and they've not been used since. Why was there so much emphasis put on what was being done to them and what they were and how they weren't quite ready yet?
That could be a span. Well, that could be a spanner in the works for all of this that's happening.
Oh, absolutely, it could be.
And I still believe that Tech could be like. Imagine one of them's revealed to be Tech in front of them while they're trying to break. That's just going to completely fuck up the plan.
Crush them, yeah.
Also, you could be right. I mean, I've said I wouldn't be surprised if I'd like to see one last show in this gap from the end of Bad Batch to obviously to Rogue, not Rogue One, to Rebels, where we get to see like it felt like we could easily go into like a Rex arc of like what do Rex and Echo get up to? How does he then become with Wolf? And like what, and maybe like playing off what you're saying with these, they've been trying to hunt these assassins and figure out about them. What if that show then it goes into like they are hunting these or trying to find out about these assassins, and that's like their storyline is like dealing with these assassin clones.
Because the 3 seasons of Bad Batch, based on my best guesstimate, has taken about 4 years from the beginning of the Empire. I reckon we're about 4 years into the Empire here.
Right.
If not a little bit more.
Possibly something like that.
The Rebels takes up about the last 5 years before the original trilogy. The Empire was only around for 19. That leaves 9 years in the middle. You can shave off 3 or 4 years either side of that. for like nothing really major happened there, which leaves you about 3 years in the middle, which is 3 seasons of a show.
Yeah, you could just. I genuinely would love to. Like, I think the way to round out this, and also on the fact of from the characters we had in the animated Clone series, I think a great way to round it out would be to end it with like a Rex series. Everyone loves him. We know where he ends up with Gregor and Wolf. It'd be cool to see like what was his final like. Maybe it's getting rid of these assassin clones, freeing the last of the clones that he can, and it's like that storyline of him like realizing his job's done. I can't fight the Empire on my own. I'm the last. Like I, as a captain, I've got my boys out. I can like, and we get to see his end to his story.
Yeah.
I think that could be really cool.
Exactly. A couple of seasons of a show with Rex dealing with whatever his last hurdle is, leaving him where we then pick him up in Rebels is a perfect way. The entire animated kind of timeline sits there nicely. We know what happens for everyone throughout. We're good. I completely agree. I think that makes a boatload of sense.
Can we also point out that this week, Wrecker was once again almost dead?
Yeah. I'm really worried about Wrecker.
Yeah. Ever since you first said it, I was like, you have a slight good point. Then the last 2 weeks, or like the last couple of weeks since then, there's been twice where he's almost died. And I'm just like,
who would have thought that someone who's done 112 episodes breaking down film and TV shows would notice like thematic tools that are used to sometimes.
I'm too busy looking at pretty
visuals
to pay attention to thematics.
I'm acoustic as fuck, so I know its patterns.
Yeah.
It could be a red herring though. It could be we'll keep putting Wrecker in danger so that when someone else dies, your brain is instantly more surprised because that person seemed safe all year, and we've been sat here worrying about Wrecker.
I still think Crosshair sacrifices himself. I think as his feel towards being like, this is my final redemption, to be like, look, I was always, I am one of you. I'm sorry for like betraying you. He is going to sacrifice himself for some reason, whether it's to save Wrecker or to save Hunter. And then I still think Omega's in danger as well.
What I need is if anyone who gets out alive, I need someone to give me a canon answer to what the rest of their life was like. I need to know. Because I've sat here for weeks and I've gone, I refuse to believe that Omega survives all of this and then lives on the Outer Rim and doesn't get involved with the rebellion. No one will ever be able to convince me that Omega goes and sits on a fucking farm somewhere.
No, I don't. Yeah,
sees the rebellion taking place and is like, "Nah, I've done my bit." Not a chance.
I'm going to put this out there now in the hopes that maybe I'm right and we can be like, haha. I think the base is compromised. It gets put into self-destruct mode. They're scrambling to escape with Rex. Assassin clone appears. It's Tech. Omega's like, oh my god, Tech. Runs to him. Tech either captures Omega or some like whatever. Crosshair is like, fuck, I'm the only one who can fight this guy. Or like they used me to make these, like he for whatever his last redemption arc, he fights Tech, dies, but then the base gets blown up with Tech and Omega inside. So the three of them, I think that might be, well, Hunter and Wrecker and Rex, like Rex drags them two away because he's like, we've got to get out.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how they decide to end all of this.
The facility's going up in flames.
However, as I have been for a lot of Disney Plus shows over the years, concerned that they've left themselves a lot to wrap up in one episode, especially when we know this is the last season.
Yeah, I just think this last episode, this last episode is going to be, the facility is going to get destroyed. I think Omega dies. It's who dies with her.
Yeah. Potentially.
Trailer time.
Yes. Oh, it was good. We finally got a proper length trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine. With some Wolverine in it.
Yeah, with a lot of Wolverine in it. Yeah. I mean, the opening joke. Well, hang on, two things. One, I swear we always start anything that's Wolverine related. It's like a canon event that has to happen. It's Wolverine's introduced in an out of town rundown bar. Like, I feel like any time he's like found by a character, the teaser for the Wolverine game, it's always in a bar.
Hurry, you're an artist. It's a motif.
I know, but it's just like it's so like they're making it a canon event. It's gone further than just a it's like.
Would you like my off the rip guess?
Go on.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
In Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man films,
mm-hmm.
Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was supposed to make a cameo in Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
However, they couldn't find the costume, so it got scrapped.
Okay.
That would mean canonically that Wolverine would know that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. What if this Wolverine is actually Tobey Maguire's Wolverine, and during the events of No Way Home, similar to Tom Hardy's Venom, he got pulled into the MCU universe and got stuck there? Because we've already been told that this isn't Logan. This isn't the Wolverine from Logan.
No.
They're not touching that. They said that. As much as people on the internet trying to act like they're retconning that, they're saying they're not touching that. I've just got a feeling there is going to be some weird bullshit fuckery that makes no sense, and they can try and get away with it because it's a Deadpool film, and Deadpool will just be able to go, fuck you, I do what I want. That will be their logic. I've just got a feeling that this Wolverine is already in the MCU. Especially when we know that in She-Hulk, there was the article saying man with claws gets in a bar fight.
Yes. So here's kind of on top of this then. I don't think the Wolverine in that bar is the same Wolverine in the yellow suit.
That failed his universe.
Yeah. I think, like, on yours, I'm in the same boat of I think it's the one we've got hinted at from She-Hulk, because the barman's also says, you're not allowed around here. Almost being like, you had a fucking bar fight here. You're barred. Or it could be like he's just being racist to mutants.
But that is also very possible.
But I do agree. I think it's whether it's Tobey Maguire's Wolverine.
It's just how I logic my way into him being in the universe.
Potentially. I don't hate that idea. I do then think I love the fucking opening joke of when he does the claws and they only come out a little bit, and he's like, you've got the whiskey dick. Happens in Wolverines of 40 plus. Yeah. And I'm just like, and he's like, here, don't fucking do as I say, or you're about to take a deep breath through your forehead. And I'm like, sold. I'm just sold on this. Like, this is the Deadpool humor is back. I'm so for this.
It looks like we're going to get a number of fight scenes between the two of them as well, when they're doing stuff and Wolverine is just like, I'm sick of your shit, and they have a little scrap.
Well, I think there's going to be different. Obviously, the one in the yellow suit is one. We know there's a Wolverine in a casino, because we got that in the teaser.
That's Patch.
So I think there's going to be this situation where he's going, for whatever reason, he needs to find a Wolverine. They'll probably get into that. And he's going to go face multiple. So there's going to be multiple fights where he's like fighting Wolverines, and it always ends up in
what I'm
stabbing each other.
Really curious to know about.
Go on.
Is, do they use this Deadpool film to introduce the MCU's Wolverine?
I think they do.
As like a post-credit scene at the end. Deadpool completes his task for the TVA, as a reward, he gets put in a universe that is safe.
Yep.
And he bumps into that universe's Wolverine, and it's the MCU.
And he's like, "Oh fuck, not this again."
Yeah.
Yeah. Or what if it's like, because obviously we get the line in this trailer of Wolverine's like, "Oh fuck off," which is the same one as in
First Class.
First Class, yeah, when they're in the bar. What if it's like Deadpool's in his bar, you know, the Merc one, and Wolverine walks in and he's like, "Oh fuck off" to Wolverine instead. I think you're right that we could get our MCU Wolverine. It's obviously we see the yellow suit Wolverine is how I'm going to just describe him. Knocked out on the floor of the TVA. We then get in a place where we know the Fox sign is, but there's also a bunch of other shit in the background.
Yeah, I think that's the pruning place.
Yes.
I forget the name
now,
of the dimension.
I think he comes across Yellow Wolverine in a incursion world or something's gone, and he comes like, and he brings him in, and they're like, "No, he's no use to us." Like, what the line is, they prune, or they get in a fight and they accidentally prune each other, and that's how they both end up in the void. They obviously then get into it in the void, of which is then where they meet all those other people. Which I saw something where someone was like, with the Ant-Man skull opening up, and there's a few people in front. People are theorizing that's different mutants.
It absolutely is. So one of them was Aziraphale, who was the character in, I want to say, X3, who looked very much like Nightcrawler but had red skin instead of blue.
Okay.
Toad was there from X-Men 2.
Okay.
Or original X-Men, I can't remember which. And there was a couple of other mutants there, absolutely.
I think Fox Universe X-Men had an incursion.
Yeah.
Obviously, TVA went in, cleaned up. Bunch of them all ended up there. The woman apparently is
Nova.
Yes.
Yeah, that is Charles Xavier's twin sister who he thought he killed in the womb.
That's what I've
Have
seen.
you ever heard this story?
No, but I hadn't before this. Found out because I saw some things that that's Charles's twin.
So in the womb, Charles's telepathic abilities kind of made him aware of the evil within her.
Oh.
So he strangled her with the umbilical cord.
Damn.
In the womb.
Bro, moving like that. Okay.
Yeah. I might be getting that wrong, but that's what I seem to think happened.
Sounds probably right.
I'm not quite sure how she survived or what happened. I think she ended up being like assumed a stillborn, but not really. She then got put in like an orphanage and then a mental asylum and went a bit crazy.
When I saw that like it's Charles's twin, whether this might not be liked, I think they don't do it that way. I think for MCU, and because we're dealing with TVA, and we've dealt with Loki and his variants, I reckon they're going to play this off as this is a Charles variant that was female.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
And that's why she got zapped and she's in the void.
I don't dislike that. I do have to scup your plan slightly.
Okay.
That actress has been confirmed to be playing Cassandra Nova.
Oh no, I think she'll still be called Cassandra Nova. Like,
see, I think
like I'm forgetting what female Loki's called I'm forgetting her name. Yeah, like how she's called Sylvie, but she is Loki. I think she'll be Cassandra Nova, became Professor X in whatever.
I kind of get what you're going at. I think the issue is going to be with Cassandra Nova being a character people are really excited for. If they put the name Cassandra Nova on essentially a gender bent Professor X, I think they really risk pissing off more people than they think. So I think if they
don't disagree
that, it's a very bad idea.
I just, with this whole like we're dealing with TVA and variants, it wouldn't surprise me if that's what they tried to play it off as.
Yeah.
Or it could just be the world she was in, she killed Charles and that wasn't meant to happen. Maybe it's a world actually where she killed Charles in the womb, still
Now that
became
I can
Cassandra
believe.
Nova. They're like, this isn't the true timeline, pruned.
That I can see.
I think either of those could be why she ends up there.
But it's definitely gonna be really interesting to see how it comes out. The visual of the giant Ant-Man head with the skull still in the helmet, is a fucking vibe.
I love the whole Void vibe. How it's like so many Easter eggs of different things. Like we got the Red Skull car, but it's got an Iron Man logo on it.
Do you know what it is? In my opinion, the vibe of it works perfectly. As we've seen before, stuff being the wrong kind of size happened a lot in the Void in the Loki show, so that gives it that. But do you know what it is? And we haven't had it in forever. It's a kick-ass bad villain lair.
Yeah.
We don't have enough of them.
Well, it's the same vibe as Nowhere, the giant fucking skull in space. It's just like, oh, this is just sick to have a base in. But like on the car that I was saying that is Red Skull, I saw a fun theory. Someone was like, look, it's got Iron Man's face and it's flames. What if this is OG Rhodey actor who got zapped because he's not the real Rhodey?
Just like I love that idea. My problem is that actor has gone off the fucking rails.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I don't.
And has come up with his own form of maths. And I just don't think Disney are going to work.
Oh no, Disney won't. But I think it would be.
I don't think he'd sign the contract anyway. It would be hilarious though.
It would be a hilarious way to have him back.
Just get a lookalike.
Another fun fan theory that I don't think is going to be true. The portal, the sling ring portal they jump into at the end.
Yeah.
What if that is them entering Endgame?
I've seen a lot of people going like that.
And they've been in our MCU ever since, and we didn't know.
I don't hate that idea.
Neither do I, but
it would be a very Deadpool thing to do when you bear in mind the Secret Wars retcon that was Deadpool found the symbiote suit first, drove it crazy, and that's why it became Venom type beat. So like it'd be a very like Deadpool's the only character you could pull it off with.
Yeah.
Another one I've seen is what if they end up in Madeline's house from She-Hulk or Madison's house?
Yeah.
Fun fact about that, before I forget, Madison has made her first appearance in an actual comic book after being created for the She-Hulk show. Because Wong in one of the Doctor Strange comics was going out to watch TV with Madison.
I love that.
So that's become like a canon thing now, which is really cool. But yeah, I'm so excited for this film.
Same.
Oh, sorry, another little Easter egg in the trailer. A lot of people have spotted, so I'm not breaking any news here.
Okay.
In the bit where Wolverine and Deadpool walk out together for like that big fight scene that clearly happens in like that shopping strip.
Yeah.
One of the signs, because of the way it's broken, looks like it says Rob Liefeld's feet.
Right.
Rob Liefeld is a comic book artist.
Oh, okay.
Famously cannot draw feet.
Oh, I like it.
So, like, a lot of his art cuts off at like the shin or the
nice.
Because he just cannot draw feet, so he's come up with lots of very funny ways to just try and avoid it over the years.
I like that.
I can't wait for this film. I am incredibly nervous, like I was with No Way Home, that I'm so excited it won't possibly be able to live up.
I know what you mean.
But I'm going to go and I'm going to watch it. There's no point being nervous. I may as well just let myself be excited.
Do you know what as well we need to remember is we've been told there's quite a few cameos. So like this trailer really didn't allude to that side of the story.
I can't remember who it is. There's a couple of people who were reported to have cameos, but actually that might be a bunch of crap and they might actually have pretty significant roles.
Oh. Something that I've just remembered, I remember seeing someone pointed out on, I think it was on Twitter, I saw it. The quick trailer we saw like months back, like the Flash one,
Yeah.
there was the clip where we saw Deadpool shooting Uzis, and everyone was like, "Oh, famously, female
Lady
Deadpool,
Deadpool, yeah.
Lady Deadpool." Someone's gone back. The gloves that Deadpool was wearing are different to what he's wearing in this trailer, and everyone's like,
Awesome.
Maybe it still is the case."
It's absolutely that is absolutely gonna be Lady Deadpool. We know we're getting a few Deadpool variants with like Deadpool dog and stuff.
Yeah, I think he's
Sorry,
going to
go.
travel to world, like there's going to be some issue of him traveling around with a TVA where different Deadpools, different Wolverines, potentially other
I,
cameos.
I kind of like the idea of like that fight scene we saw teased with them walking out.
Mm,
Is like them fighting like another variant of Deadpool and Wolverine.
maybe.
Oh my god, what if the TVA, the sick fucks, have like paired up a bunch of Deadpool and Wolverines? It's like only one of you gets to survive. We're only going to save one of you.
Wow, it's like, I don't know. I'm just, there's obviously going to be some significance. Obviously, they're going to stick with Yellow Suit Deadpool for a while. Like his
Yellow Suit Wolverine.
Wolverine, I mean.
That's the main one we're going to be dealing with for sure.
Then they're obviously then gonna deal with Cassandra, but it's like what Wolverine did they end up with?
Yeah,
That's the
I,
question.
I'm I'm so excited. Also, people are moaning about this. I'm gonna deal with this.
Oh,
So, when we got the suit reveal, everyone was like, "Why does he have sleeves? Wolverine's not supposed to have sleeves." And then everyone was like, "Well, Hugh Jackman has a really serious history of melanoma, which is skin cancer for people who don't know.
yeah,
So, you know what? Well, it's still comic accurate. Let him keep his sleeves. I want Hugh Jackman to be healthy and
yeah,
comfortable." Clearly, the suit gets battle damaged and the sleeves come off, which is what we've seen in this trailer.
yeah.
These ungrateful motherfuckers are going, "Why did they get rid of the shoulder gauntlets? We said we wanted no sleeves. That doesn't mean get rid of the shoulder gauntlets." The whole idea of that is purely to give you a hint of the sleeveless look,
Mm-hmm.
but without you going, "Oh, well, why didn't you just run that suit the entire time?" Because if they would have just had the sleeves cut off for one scene with the shoulder gauntlets still on, everyone would have gone, "Well, why didn't you just use that suit the entire time?"
Do you know what I saw about that stuff? And it's like if you pay attention, like he has sleeves when they're doing those what we know are huge outdoor shots in the
Yeah,
desert, or whatever. Rightfully so to protect his skin. That supermarket or whatever they're at for the fight 100% is an indoor set, which is why it's fine. And then also, how much do you want to bet it? It's like there's gonna be some moment where Wolverine like pulls on his shoulder pads to pull him towards him, and he just rips his sleeves off, and he's gonna be like, "Oops," sort
yeah.
of like, "Oh no, I've ripped your clothes off."
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting, that's for sure. But we will see.
So,
Should we got some nerdy news?
yes, let's get into the news.
Right, we've got a couple little bits here.
Mm-mm.
Hollywood Reporter has claimed that a Hollywood insider has said that Rotten Tomatoes
Mm.
scores are apparently very influential on producers when looking at directors for a project, even going as far as to claim that it is the first checklist item.
I saw this. Kind of wild that it though doesn't surprise me nowadays that they're
So,
like leaning to these things for a direction.
I have a couple of thoughts on this. It is not inherently bad that they take it into account
No.
because at the end of the day, it's a repository of critic and fan opinions of films. If a
Yep.
director is consistently doing well in both categories, that should be a reason to give them a chance.
Yeah.
On the flip side, we know that Rotten Tomato scores are very manipulatable with that big
Yeah.
expose a few months ago, but also sometimes certain fan groups have gone out of their way to tank another film that they
Yep.
feel doesn't deserve the recognition, even if they haven't seen it, which makes the scores occasionally unreliable.
Yep.
I don't mind it being part of the thought process. I don't like the notion that it's high up on their list.
I hope this is. I'd like to believe this is only really used more so for directors that studios aren't familiar with. Hopefully, like those directors that have been well established, they don't really look at this as much because they'll put together a list or people will suggest a list to producers or whatever, and they're like, oh, I don't know who this is, goes on Rotten Tomatoes to look at what work they've done, maybe takes that scores into account. But like you say, scores can be manipulated. We've also seen directors end up with a bad script, bad production company like Warner Brothers or something, that then forces them to make a film they didn't want to direct, gives them a bad score. That's not really on the director.
Yeah, exactly.
There's situations like that. So I agree with you. I hope it's not being hard, like taken as a hard indicator, but I'm not against them using it to get a feel on maybe a director they're not as familiar with or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it makes complete sense as like one of the things you look at.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I like this guy's work. I've seen this film. I like his film. I like his style. What do fans and critics think of him?
Yeah.
If they go see, oh, this guy's always in the 80s, which means his name is going to have a bit of weight that people are going to be like, some directors themselves put butts in seats.
Mm.
This is a good way of seeing if you've got a director who could potentially be that kind of guy. I have no issue with it being one of the factors. The bit that concerns me about
Yeah.
this article is the fact that it's apparently like phase one of screening people out. That's what I
I
don't like.
I imagine this is it's only like bad in that situation on when they're doing sort of, I don't know, remaking a new Transformers film and they want a new director or something. Like when these production studios and they're trying to rebuild franchises or bring them back because they don't want to make new stuff. So like, oh, we need a director for this. And in most cases like that, it's already like, why are you making this film anyway?
Yeah,
Does it
crazy.
really make a difference how they get a director or not? I think it's for us, the films we care about. I don't think this is as big of an issue. I think it's an issue with like making the next Fast and Furious film or something like that sort of side of this industry.
Um, we got our first look at Star Wars:
Yes, we
Tales
did.
of the Empire. The clip that we got shows Night Sisters fighting General Grievous. The series, of course, releases on May 3rd.
I loved seeing General Grievous again.
It
Doing the
felt good,
double
didn't it?
doing the double lightsaber spin.
This
Also,
show, like, we loved Tales of the Jedi.
yes.
I have no reason to believe this won't be interesting. Little anthology series that I can sit down and binge in like 40 minutes and get just a bit more depth to these characters is lit.
Also giving us more depth to Night Sisters helps them with Ahsoka season 2.
Absolutely.
Because we know they're like the fact that we're slowly getting this Night Sisters is being like fleshed out and this mystical side of the Force being fleshed out more, I'm all for.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very cool.
The Phantom Menace is
Yes.
returning to theaters next week in America for
Mm.
its 25th anniversary. Previously, we've reported that all of the Spider-Man films, I believe the first one's already happened, are returning to theaters over the next few months for like 4-day releases.
Mm-hmm.
Again, only in America. Do you think we miss out on this in the UK and the wider world, or are you not really bothered?
I particularly because they've done it with other Star Wars films.
Yeah, that last year they did it with Revenge of the no, not Revenge of the Sith, Return of
Return of the
the
Jedi.
Jedi.
Yes, they did. I don't think it's fair. I want to see these films in cinema again.
Do you know how much I would love to be able to go out and experience original Star Wars
Exactly.
in the cinema.
And like the fact that they only do that, like for Star Wars in particular, they've done it on anniversaries. Why only in America, I don't know. Like, I don't see why. I don't understand why why they think that it wouldn't be a big enough thing in the UK, or whether there's like some issue with doing it in the UK, which I can't believe there is. Like, I don't understand
It
why
makes
they
no
think this
sense
is
to me.
just an America only thing to do these like re-releases.
I don't know. Is it a case of in America? I honestly couldn't tell you why it's just an America thing. Maybe it's easier to just do it in a locale like that, but I just, especially when you know, like, if you go on Disney Plus right now and watch Return of the Jedi, it's like the 19th version of the remaster. Last
Mm,
year, when they were showing Return of the Jedi, it was the original unedited film.
mm.
We have never seen that.
Yeah, and here's the thing: they don't need to do it because I'm pretty sure in America they only do it in like very select places, right?
Yes.
They could literally do it in like you could get away with doing it just in London, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure half the UK would make that journey to go see.
Yeah. You could absolutely get away with doing it in like a London and a Manchester,
Yeah,
and you would get people from anywhere in the country who feel like they have a fair chance of being able to go and see it.
yeah. It's
And that's what I don't know. Maybe we're sitting here and in reality, like we wouldn't bother go see any of the Spider-Man films or whatever. But it'd be nice to just have the option. Because you know me, I love the cinema. We've not been to the
yeah.
cinema. We've been to the cinema once this year for something on the podcast, or have I only been for June?
Oh no, you went. You went for
Madam Web, yes.
very
Um,
forgettable, understandably.
right. So like, if with these stuff coming out right now and there's not been
Mm,
any films in a little while, there's a real chance that I'm like, you know what, I haven't been to the cinema in a little while. I
yeah.
would love to see that in cinema again. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, like if they put Phantom Menace over here, I'd 100% go and watch that.
Yeah. Um,
So
Fallout.
yes,
As we spoke last week, it hadn't been greenlit.
not officially, no.
It has now been greenlit for a second
I'm pretty
season.
sure like right after we
Yeah,
did the
yeah.
podcast.
In a surprise to absolutely no one.
Yeah.
My only thing I want them to do is don't make season 2 a drop everything at once season.
Yeah, we said that last
Let
week.
let us enjoy it for a longer period of time.
I would love for them to do weekly releases for season 2. I am pretty confident they'll stick with what is their release strategy now. It
As a
worked so
general,
well. Like everyone's hyped about it, so why would they change it?
although project to project, Amazon do change their release schedule. A ongoing project, so multiple seasons, they always follow the same pattern no matter what. It does suck, but the fact that it's got a second season
Oh
is
yeah,
phenomenal news. Because that show was really, really good, and I'm excited for the second season.
same. I can't wait.
Um, Fallout 4 sales have risen by 7,500% since the release of the TV series. Now, granted, this was a pretty old game, so the sales won't have been doing ridiculous numbers anyway.
No.
But this was this one game of the year when it came
Mm,
out. It was
somehow.
like a
Mm,
hugely successful game
yeah.
that still has for how old it is for a single player story game. Still had a very solid player base.
Yeah. It always felt like a lot of the complaints back then were it didn't have a lot of content. And the fact that obviously the update came out with the show and boosted
Yep, that
things.
update came out today.
Oh, is it only
As we
today?
record it,
Okay.
came out today.
So I
Um,
know and I know the fact that obviously people went back and have downloaded Fallout 4 again. This is just us talking about that. But I also know Fallout 76 has had a boost of people because that's the open world one.
since its release, this is the highest player count it's ever seen.
My mate was telling me he'd seen a clip of someone brand new to it, hadn't ever played Fallout 76. There's obviously a very dedicated small player base that had not stopped playing it, so are like geared to the nines. There was a guy ended up in some fight with like a bunch of creatures, was obviously not at all prepared for it. Basically, some player jetpacks in a souped up power suit, absolutely just rinses everything, did the love heart emote, and then flew away. And it's like,
that's really cool.
People like that are now going, like, obviously the community that was still there are being so welcoming, and you're getting like
good.
a whole
There's always
wave
a
of player
when
base.
Communities become really small, that they become a bit toxic and gatekeeper. Like, you weren't here in the trench with us, so we don't want you now. It's nice to see that a lot of them have been like, come on in, the water's
I think
good.
a lot of them, because it's like an open world, they're just like, oh shit, now there's like life in these servers. So they're happy to have.
In Fallout 76, I never played it because the reviews of it when
Played
it
it a
first came
little
out
bit.
was so bad.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
But you can like set up your own stores and sell to other players.
Yeah, you basically set up like a little base.
Yeah, so like it's so cool. You've probably got these players who've been seeing the same, like, know their customers by name, and now they're getting all these new people. Their profits are probably skyrocketing. They're loving it.
Oh,
the
yeah.
economy's booming.
They're just like having a whale of a time. But yeah, it's great to see that the games have had a boost from the show, and hopefully this helps like future Fallout game.
Yeah,
the
inside rumor is that we will get 3 seasons of this show before we hear anything about Fallout 5.
That doesn't surprise me, considering we're still waiting on Elder Scrolls 6.
Yes. They've got DLC for Starfield in the works. They've got I didn't say anything. Starfield. They've got Elder Scrolls 6 coming. And they are already working on Fallout 5, but we believe it's to look like the story stage. So like not actual game development stage of it yet.
Yeah, so.
But I have been playing Starfield because I want a Bethesda game, and I've become a little.
All the Fallout games are on Game Pass.
Yeah, but Fallout 4 was bugging out my PC. I couldn't get the audio to work.
It might be alright now.
It down. Yeah, so I put it down waiting for this update, and I've not got around to playing it today. And then I'm tearing down the entire setup tomorrow. So yeah. Worst case scenario, when my Xbox is set up at the flat, I will just download it on there because it will just work.
Yeah, true.
Actually, no, I have the disc of it still from when I bought it. I'll just put it in there.
Sorry, what's a disc? Haven't seen one in a few years.
That might be one of the last disc games I bought.
Oh, I don't know what the last disc game is.
It was either that or Batman Arkham Knight, whichever one came out later. Anyway, according to the New York Times, Denis Villeneuve, who directed Dune, has started writing Dune Messiah, which is very exciting.
No surprise.
Because he said after the second one, if he wasn't certain he could do the third one better, he wouldn't do it. So there was actually a little bit of concern that he wouldn't stop writing it for a little while, and then he'd be like, I don't think this is going to be better, and throw it away. So the fact that he's already started writing it is actually really fucking good. I need this film.
I think he always was going to.
Probably. Why wouldn't you? Like, the man has 2 of the most critically acclaimed films of the last decade. And that's just in the Dune films. He also did Blade Runner 2049, which was a huge success. And a couple of other films that were massively successful.
Get him on a Star Wars film.
The leap up in like commercial success from June to June 2.
Yeah.
They are, I'm telling you right now, Warner Bros. Are looking at Dune Messiah going, that's going to make us over $1 billion.
Oh,
and they're probably right.
It's going to be like this generation's Endgame. Like the build-up and the hype and all this.
Dune did like close to 400 million. Dune 2 did 700 or close to.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I think this next one could be like 1 bill to 1.2 bill.
Wouldn't surprise me. The hype for that film is going to be insane.
Well, here's the thing. As a lot of people did between June and June Part 2, they got to see June on Netflix. And now, with all the extra hype around June Part 2, making it bigger, you're going to have a bunch of people who watch June and June Part 2 on whatever streaming service, potentially Netflix, potentially another one, before June Messiah comes out, as well as all the people who watched the first 2 films in cinemas, and it's going to have that like compounding effect. I'm crazy excited for it. I can't wait for it.
I still need to
and
watch
I hope
them.
it. You absolutely do. You'll love them. I know you will.
It's just the time commitment.
I've literally never ever told you that you'd love something that you've then not loved. I've literally got 100% record with you. Watch it. Watch it now.
Well, imagine I come out and I'm like, I hate this.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think that'll be the end of the podcast because then my taste is just clearly wrong.
I feel like you actually have to love June because without June, there's no Star Wars.
Oh, I'm sure I will love it. It's just the time
it's
commitment.
class.
That's all it is.
They are long films, but I'm a nerd. I love long films, so. Yeah. But that is it from us this week.
Yes.
We will catch you next week with episode 113.
Yeah, we'll have the finale of Bad Batch.
Yeah.
The penultimate of X-Men.
Episode of X-Men. We'll be getting ready. We'll be getting ready for Tales of the Empire. Lots of big, exciting things. Do not miss it. Click that like button. Click that subscribe button. Ring the bell for post notifications. And we'll catch you in a bit.
We'll see you next week.